Okay. Hey guys, what's going on? I am here with Charlie Robinson. She's from a little special place that maybe you've heard of called Canada. She's super, super awesome. She's had her life massively, absolutely, incredibly, radically transformed physically, mentally, emotion, in a bunch of ways. I'm not going to steal the show. I'm going to let her share with you a little bit. But first, I'd like, Charlie, could you give us a little bit of background, where specifically in that awesome place called Canada you're from? You know what? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your life.
Sure. Well, first off, thanks so much for having me on here, Brian. You know I love you.
Welcome.
You're one of my new friends that I've made this year that has, changed my life. And, I'm happy to know you. So I'm happy to be here. Hi, everybody. So I'm from Canada, specifically from Vancouver. So I'm a West Coaster, Pacific. And I love it here. I'm a little bit greedy because I love to have my mountains and my ocean together. I just can't choose.
Every time I go up there, it's been super, super rainy and I can't see the mountains, or super, super snowy and I couldn't see the mountains, or they had just recently, I don't know, everything was on fire all around there. And so it was super, super smoky and I
Yeah.
couldn't see the mountains. So I still need to go back and see it for a fourth time, this
Yeah,
time being able to see both sides of your greed.
that's right. And now you'll have a tour guide. So I'll be able to help
Yeah.
you out.
Awesome.
So yeah, I've been here in Vancouver for since '93, I guess, long time. And I'm a special ed teacher by trade, and I'm also a single mom. I have a amazing little firecracker of a 5-year-old, my dear Ruby.
Awesome.
Is super awesome and supportive and the light of my life. She's my big why about why I do a lot of things. Um, and yeah, that's kind of the.
One quick fact about yourself before I ask you
Hmm.
a little bit about what life was like before you found out about keto. So, one quick little fun, quirky fact for people watching, maybe they can relate to.
Oh, quirky fact.
A
Um,
quirky fact. What are you into?
hmm. I love live music, definitely. Things have changed a little bit post kid. I don't get to go out as much and as hard as as I used to, but there was definite time in my life when you would find me right in front of the stage, just giving her as much as I could, being in the moment. I love that music. I think, fuels the fire, fuels your soul for everybody. And it's I have a pretty clear soundtrack to my life with music for sure.
Very cool. Very cool. So, for everybody watching, can you share a little bit about what your life was like, what you were going through, how things were back before you found out about keto and decided to start your keto journey?
Oh man. Well, you know that movie, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. that's that's kind of how I felt. I was extremely out of shape. I had been going through a lot of really tough life stuff, so my mindset, my emotions, my emotional health was really struggling. And because of that, my physical health was really struggling too. I was really low energy. My firecracker of a kid, she's extra. She's like 4 year at that time. She was like 4 plus an extra, chihuahua level constant. So trying to keep up with her, it was becoming increasingly difficult. And then just sort of where I was in my life, it was becoming increasingly difficult to, get out to the grocery store and cook, come home and cook, proper meals. And, my sleep, I couldn't sleep. I was so stressed out about life and things and the hamster wheel going that I wasn't getting a good sleep. I had lots of internal issues from the stress and everything with, so I wasn't functioning very well, really. And I was missing out on life. I was missing out on spending time at the park with my kid because I didn't have the energy or the mental health to get there. And I was seeing my kids starting to be a little bit of a nursemaid and taking care of mommy. And that just kind of broke my heart. And I was like, this is it. I either have to do something or we're going to implode. As a little, family of two, it's all on me. And so I had to pull on my big girl pants and figure it out. And so I just started searching because, 30 years of, being a North American, I had done every crash, fad, diet, formal companies, things I'd found on the internet, the ladies in the staff room. I had done it all over the years. And what always happens with those kind of crash diets and things, you may lose a little bit, a lot of water, probably some muscle, and then you end up gaining it all back and they bring friends. And so, they're so rude, those uninvited guests. And I had found myself, I was getting a lot closer to 300 than I was to 250. And, I'm 5'8", I'm, a broad build, but that's still way, way, way too much. So I knew that I had to find something. Yeah.
So you hit a bit of a breaking point there and realized, something's got to change. So then I know that you had started, were you doing kickboxing before this, or was kickboxing the first thing you started to try? Or I knew kickboxing came into this in a big way, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had joined my kickboxing gym April of 2016. So okay. I had started, that New Year's resolution took me a couple months to find a fitness because I'd done all the gym things and I'd get the memberships and then I wouldn't go, and I needed to find something that I actually liked to do. And me, being a gym rat wasn't it. And I was too uncomfortable to go swimming, which was my other passion. I used to competitively swim as a kid and I kind of lost that. Wow. So trying to find something that was engaging enough and motivating enough that I would actually go. But because I wasn't dialed in with all the other parts of my life, I wasn't very consistent at going to kickboxing until this year. And then that changed everything.
So then just really your keto journey has really only been about a year.
Yeah.
And so what was it that first kind of introduced you to this idea of ketones and ketosis? And what was it that made you say, well, you know what, I've tried all that crap before, but for whatever reason, I'm going to give this one a real shot and we're going to see how well it can work for me. What was that really, that moment for you?
That moment, oh my gosh, I remember it. I was having another insomnia night and it was probably 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. My daughter had crawled into bed with me at one point, so I didn't want to turn on the TV or turn on the light. So there I was on my phone, with her on the other side of my back and just scrolling. And I was just like almost in tears. And I came across a video from an amazing lady named Courtney Looper. And she had just started taking this product.
Hello, ketones. Courtney.
Yeah, and she was talking about it, and she had a similar story as me. She was in her early 40s. She's done everything under the sun. She started, she tried something new with the ketones, and she was just sharing her experience. And I was at the point where I was like, I'm desperate. I will try, do anything. And, for a single parent, it was, I was like, how do I fit this into my budget? How do I make this work? How do I give this a good, solid, honest shot? And, but I just did it. I went bought a box because she was in the US and I'm in Canada. I didn't have a chance to try a trial experience pack. So I just went all in, bought a box of ketones, and they arrived on December 12th, the day that changed my life.
December 12th. And so for those of y'all watching, there's several different ways to get into ketosis. You can do it through fasting, right? Just eating nothing at all for a few days. And your body will start burning your fat turning that fat into ketones. And when you have a certain amount of ketones in your blood, testable with a blood meter, then you're in ketosis. You can also get into ketosis through eating a fasting-like diet. So we're made out of protein and fat. When we're eating nothing, we're staying alive by burning protein and fat for fuel. And so a fasting-like diet would be one of only protein and fat. If you remove all carbohydrates from your diet, kind of same fuel source as if you were fasting, right? Especially if you have the proportions right. It can be a bit tricky because carbs are in everything and they're delicious and addictive. And then finally, another way that Charlie's talking about doing it is through exogenous ketones, drinking ketones, taking ketones, swallowing them. They taste delicious, right? They make you feel great. They absorb direct into the bloodstream and they put you in ketosis within 30 minutes to an hour or so. And so you saw Courtney talking about that, decided to go all in, started drinking them. And since then, what kind of changes have you seen in your life?
Oh my gosh. Well, first off, being an emotional eater, stress eater, there's so many of us. I think a good majority of us use food for more than just fuel. It's a celebration. It's, stress. It's, emotion,
Oh, yeah.
right? All that kind of stuff. You're
I'm
sad.
bored. Let's eat.
Let's
I'm
eat.
excited. Let's eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Celebrating. Whatever. Let's eat. And so I knew for my body, because I had done some Whole30s and done some things when my baby was little, because she was having some internal stuff going on. So I knew that eating low carb was probably my best bet, and the hidden sugars and stuff. But I was having such a hard time sticking to it because the cravings were still there. Something in my brain, my body still wanted that sugar. And it was December when I started drinking things. It's, primed Christmas parties, Christmas baking, sweets everywhere. And right away, yeah, the sleep part was probably the first thing I noticed. I woke up one morning in the same position that I fell asleep in. My daughter, not so much, but me, I was like a rock. And as, a chronic sleepwalker, that was a huge thing for me.
Wow.
The energy, like sleep and energy kicked in within the first week. But the weekend after I started taking them, I went to a Christmas party. And, as you go to Auntie Margaret's house and it's just this table is just laden with all these sweets. And normally I would have been in there like a dirty shirt, a little bite here, one of these, a piece of this. So I haven't tried that yet. I had zero interest.
Like a dirty shirt? Was that the expression?
Yes.
I'd have been in there like a dirty shirt, eating and taking bites. I don't know that I've heard that.
Oh, that's a Canadian thing.
Maybe. Do y'all's dirty shirts eat snacks?
They're tasty. We're goats. We're part goat up here,
I apologize for interrupting. So you were saying...
Yeah. It just turned off the cravings. Like I was in the middle of Christmas baking too for gifts. That's a common gift for me to give is, I have grandma's recipes. And normally I'd have to make almost a whole extra batch because I would eat so much as I was making them. The testers, you got to be quality control, right?
Of course. Like bacon. You can't just make a whole thing of bacon and not eat it while making it.
No, right? You got to.
It's not possible.
Not possible. So I noticed those sugar cravings coming off. And when the sugar cravings stopped, I started making better choices about the foods I was putting in the pie hole. And once I started to feel the effect of eating cleaner, all these other benefits started kicking in. I mean, the energy, definitely. I was going to kickboxing. I rejoined kickboxing after being away for 6 months. In January. And prior, I would go to kickboxing, get my ass kicked, get my butt kicked at kickboxing, and would be so sore that I would be so scared to have to go to the bathroom because getting into a squat position, but after being 6 months away, and because I'd had them in my system for a couple weeks by then, the muscle recovery, I walked out of there. Not only was I already hitting harder than I was before I stopped going, but the muscle recovery after the fact, I was like, oh, look at this. I can still do squats. I can go to the bathroom. No problem. This stuff is magic. And it's just, now it's 10 months in. and that fire is still there, crushing things at kickboxing, personal best all over the place. I can do walking planks now. What?
Hey.
um, and just, better food choices. I've been able to do a lot of work on mindset, the mental part of this, just put me in a better emotional state to be able to do the hard work that I needed to do for my personal journey and dealing with a bunch of stuff from my past. So, I've been in therapy for decades, and this year, and I honestly attribute it to the ketones, not by themselves, but it was a tool that allowed me to make such better choices about my life, and everything just, it just stacks as you go. And
Isn't it amazing?
I'm in a completely different place than I've ever been in my life, and excited about the future, of all the things that I get to do now.
That's super awesome. So I'm hearing that, better sleep, right? You've got better energy. You're hitting personal records and getting personal bests in kickboxing and doing like walking planks and stuff like that. I imagine you've probably also dropped a couple of pounds of fat.
Yeah, I've gone from a size 24 pant to a 14 right now, and about around 70 pounds of
Down
fat.
10 sizes and 70 pounds of fat. That is absolutely
Not done
incredible.
Yet,
and so you attribute this to, being in a state of ketosis gives you more mental clarity, mental awareness, and control over urges, control over cravings. And you found that by shortcutting and jumping into ketosis quickly through drinking ketones, that allowed you to give you what you needed to make the changes in your life that ultimately, over the course of, now it's been 11 months, right? So this isn't something that, just was a quick flash in the pan, awesome instant results, and then came back with friends. But here we are 11 months later, still succeeding, right? That's phenomenal. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, because I don't eat strict keto. I have a 5-year-old. We eat pretty clean, but we love pad thai. We love, experiencing different cultures and foods, and, going for dosas or whatever. And back in the day, one small deviation would be enough for me to just throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing, and be like, oh, I messed up. I'm done. Whatever. And I don't do that anymore because I know the ketones have my back. I can have a little treat here and there or experience a new culture's food and not be stressing about macros in my head. That doesn't mean I'm having a back pizza and beer and then drinking ketones thinking, oh, I'm good, I'm golden. But those little, because it's life. This is real life. This is not a crash diet. This is, you have to make it work for you. And I finally, at 43, have figured out how to do that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
not about perfection or being some kind of straight edge weirdo or beating yourself up. Hold on a second. Sorry. Oh, all right. I'm back. Beating yourself up senselessly or anything like that. Sounds like it's more about strategy and about feeling good about yourself, feeling good about the journey while you continue to succeed. Right. I think that's super, super awesome. So for everybody watching this right now, before we end it, I would like to get some tips, some advice. If somebody's watching this and they feel like, okay, you know what, I'm ready for a change. I want something to turn around. I want to give this a real shot. What are some tips that you would give? Let's go with your top 2 tips. And if you want to sneak in some extra, that's fine too. But your top 2 tips for somebody brand new that's thinking, okay, I'm ready to go. I've never done this. This is scary. A little nervous, but a little excited because I see all the science, I see all the success, and I want to give it a go. What would you say to that person?
What would I say to that person? I would say be committed to giving it a good, 45, 60 days to really feel the full benefits. A lot of people are so focused on the scale that they stop being in tune with their body. And so that's my biggest thing. Take some measurements, at the very beginning, and then get rid of all that stuff. Don't focus on the results. Just focus on the process and really tuning into your mind, turning into how you feel physically. Journal if that's, or take little notes, or, whatever works for you. But really tune into your body is really my biggest takeaway for that. And just know that, like Brian said, it's not about being perfect. It's about the progress and the learning, and just being open to making mistakes. We all make mistakes, and actually, I don't even like that word, because they're not mistakes. It's just trial and error and what works for you. And know that every body is different. So just tweak as you go. Reach out to the person who hooked you up with the ketones. There you go. I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but that's my second big tip. One,
Wait.
measurements, and then throw that stuff away. Tip 2, stay engaged with the person who got you the ketones, because they're going to be the ones that can help you tweak things for your particular situation. Don't buy the ketones or get the ketones and then disappear. We're here to help, as we go along. So that's tip number 2.
That's awesome. So if I can add a little bit of mechanism to step 1, why Charlie's saying this, it's not just put it away and forget about it and commit to it, out of blind faith. There is a lot of science behind that. There's a thing called the keto adaptation phase, where your body is becoming adapted to utilizing ketones as a fuel. You were born in ketosis. You got all that baby fat on you that you burn off, staying in ketosis. You're drinking that fatty breast milk, keeping you in ketosis as a little infant. And then we have our awesome Western diet that has you eating from early morning until late at night, with constant snacks all in between, very high carbohydrate, very simple carbs, constantly bombarding your digestive system and your blood sugar, and this endless attack from, until recently, constantly, right? And so while your body is adapted to loving sugar and craving sugar and wanting sugar, it's not great at burning fat. And the more addicted you are to sugar, the more cravings you have to sugar, the more you love sweets, the stronger and harder, the longer you got to give yourself to allow your body to adapt to utilizing fat as a fuel, embracing metabolic flexibility, and being able to adapt. And so that 45, 60 days is an awesome point. I've actually heard that like full keto adaptation in terms of elite level athletes can take upwards of 8 months. 8 to 10 months for things. And so here you are as an athlete, noticing that you're able to do these walking planks, and I'm starting to be able to like do handstands and jump vertical way higher than I've ever been able to jump, at the oldest point in my life. I'm not like a teenager in my 20s anymore, jumping around. I'm starting to feel things a little bit more, but I'm in better shape than I was then. So super, super awesome. And then tip number 2 was to not try to do it alone, right? To stick with the person who maybe introduce you to ketones, or stick with a community. In fact, if you're watching this and you want to be a part of a community, down below this video, I've got like a link, or maybe it's above it, depending on where you're watching. There's a link that you can get access to, or maybe some directions on how to get involved in our community. If somebody shared this video with you, you can go ahead and ask them, hey, I want to join that keto-friendly community. How do I get in there? And being a part of a community of other people that are right in there with you, that have gone from where you're at right now to where you want to be, can really, really be invaluable. So I don't want to take too much longer. I thank you so much for your time. Charlie, you were super, super awesome. And if you have one more thing that you'd like to share, I could give you a moment to share it, and then we'll wrap it up.
Oh, well, thanks so much for having me on here with you, Brian. As always, I've seen those handstands and the walking handstands. It's pretty impressive stuff, I tell you.
Yeah, I feel good about myself.
I might be putting that on my next list of things to tackle. I don't know. But yeah, I think my closing thing to say is just, it's never too late to start. It's never too late to take your health back and live your best, fullest life. That's it. I'm 43. I'm just finally figuring it out now. And I look forward to the next 40, 50, 60 years ahead of me, and being a part of my kid's life. So it's never too late. 50, 60, 70, 80, never too late.
Whew. We're going to go for a 20-minute jog down the streets on our hands when we're in our 70s.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Up to the mountains.
Up the mountain. There you go. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Check out the description, the words down below and above, and follow that stuff. Y'all have an awesome, awesome evening. Thanks for watching. And thank you again, Charlie. You're awesome.